Welcome back to Farming Simulator 2017 with the Rude Man, and I want to do a quick tutorial this morning on how to automate your missions using the GPS mod. So the first thing you need to do is download the GPS mod and install it in your game. Now, why would you want to automate that? Well, I did a mission on field number 5, and that's why we're here today on field number 5. This is one of the biggest fields on the map. This mission that I had was to harvest this field. I had a combine with a 45-meter header. It took me well over an hour to do this manually, and that's real time, not game time. So we're going to automate that. The first thing you need to know is this is not a tutorial on how to use the GPS mod. There are many tutorials out there on how to do that. This one, I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it without knowing a lot about GPS. First thing you need to do, go into the mission and accept it. We're going to hook up our equipment. All right. Now we're going to turn the GPS mode on. To do that, you hold down your control key on the left side of your keyboard. On the number pad of your keyboard to the right hand, you hit the 0 button. That brings up your GPS, turns it on. If you then keep holding down the control key and hit the period on your number pad, that brings up your control panel for GPS. Now, all of these keys on the control panel over here are keyed, but you can use your mouse, and it's the easiest way for you to do it if you don't know a lot about the GPS mod. Notice that the mouse goes away if I let go of the control key. So you have to hold the control key down to use the mouse. First thing we're going to notice here is that your red lines here are a little bit narrow. This thing is a 24-meter spread, so we need to adjust that. The easiest way to do it, again, like I said, if you don't know much about GPS, is to go over here to the work width and hit the A for automate. That will automatically spread this out for the distance that it knows this piece of equipment uses. Okay, so now we need to tell it what to do at the other end of the field. So that's this control right here called auto run, this area right here. There you see 3 icons on the bottom here, the third from the left. Click that twice. That tells it to turn to the left when it gets to the end of this field. Now, let go of your control key and start the fertilizer spreader. We're going to pull forward just a little bit. We're going to hold the control key down again, and we need to start the GPS mod. To do that, you can either hit Control W, or you can, with your cursor, just click on this satellite icon. That turns it on. At this point, all you have to do is hit the 3 key. That turns your cruise control on, and you're now automated. Now, if you notice the spreader is spreading off the field, you could have lined your piece of equipment up a little better, but this is a timed mission, so I don't usually take a lot of time. The automation is going to make it quicker anyway. You shouldn't have any problem finishing this on time. So you can choose to play with GPS and get a lot better at and faster at it, and then you can line that up and speedily get it going. But I chose not to do that for the first time using GPS. It doesn't really matter. You got plenty of time for this to finish. All right, now, here's the magic. GPS mod tells it at the end of the field to turn left. It'll find its next marker, and now it's going to go back. And it's going to do this throughout the whole field until it's done. All right, I am back. And it's very early in the morning here, and I've had time to go out, make myself a nice hot cup of Earl Grey tea, have a bagel, visit with the wife for a little while, come back, and everything's looking good. You notice that the green pie up in the right-hand corner is almost finished. That means it will be finished in time for the bonus. If that pie gets complete, and there it is, I just got my bonus. There we go. That's as easy as it can get. And so that's how you use GPS. Now, there could be a time where you run into a different kind of an issue. So let me find a smaller field that has a smaller piece of equipment. I want to show you one more thing before we go. All right, so I'm back on my farm, and I want to show you a couple things that could happen that might be a little confusing and how to make them work. So to start off with, you notice we have a piece of equipment that's a lot narrower than a fertilizer spreader or a combine header. And what will happen with a smaller piece of equipment is when it gets to the other end, GPS will not be able to turn the tractor sharp enough to come back in the next lane. So it will skip 1, 2, or 3 lanes. Now, again, I'm stressing this is not a GPS tutorial. So I'm not going to show you in GPS how to change those lane settings. There is a way to do that, but it gets a little complicated. What I'm going to tell you is the easiest way to handle the situation without having to know a lot about GPS mod. Now you notice again, first off the bat, that the width of this piece of equipment, the red lines are much wider than they need to be for this piece of equipment. You can hit this A button to automatically do it like I showed you before, but if that for some reason does not work, you can always go to the same area and either do it manually like this or minus it like that. Okay? Another thing that might show up on your screen that's a little bit confusing, you won't know what it is. Sometimes there is a little blue line that along with your little green line right there. That is your offset. In this case, for doing missions, we don't need an offset. So if you see a little blue line, the way to fix that or to take it out is to hold your control key down again and go over to offset right here and hit this little O or off button, and it'll shut that off. It'll turn the offset off. Okay, now we need to set this GPS to tell it what to do on it gets to the other end. So again, we're going to go to auto run down here, and we're going to click this button right here twice. Now when you notice that it's going to turn, it's turning to the left, but we're on the left side of the field. We don't want to turn left. We want it to turn right and go that way. So to fix that, you just hit this little right arrow. Instead of this left one right here, you're going to hit the right one. That changes that icon right there. Right now, this is all set to do this field. But like I said, when it gets to the other end, it's going to skip 1, 2, or 3 lanes. There is a way in GPS that you can set it how many lanes to skip. I'm not going to show you how to do that because it gets a little complicated. And, you know, when you're doing a mission, you're on a time limit. You don't have a lot of time to mess with GPS. So I'm just going to let it run. And I'll show you what to do, how to handle that without having to readjust those lanes. So, again, hit Control. We're going to turn the GPS on by hitting this little icon right here. It's all set. We need to lower the piece of equipment. If it's a piece of equipment that needs to be turned on, you're going to turn it on. This one just needs to be lowered. We're going to hit the number 3, not on the numpad, but on the regular number 3 on the keyboard. That's going to put us in cruise control, and it's going to start working. When it gets to the other end, I'll come back and show you what the lane skipping looks like. Okay, so you can see it skipped, what, 2 lanes? That's okay, it's still automated. So you can let it get to the end, which I'm going to do, and then I'll show you what to do to continue on. Now, this one, with a smaller piece of equipment like this, where there's lane changes like this, it's not completely automated because you still need to be here in time to tell it what to do when it gets to the end. But that's okay. At least you're not sitting here having to drive it. You can watch a YouTube video without too much concern, that kind of stuff. So let's wait till it gets to the end, and I'll show you what to do when we get to the end. Okay, so we're approaching the end of this field, and as you can see, it's skipped quite a few lanes. That's okay. I'll show you a very quick and easy way to get it started again. When it gets to the end, it's going to stop. All right, we're going to quickly whip around, and we're going to set it up on one of the first lanes that it missed, right here. Line it up. Control, hit your satellite icon again to turn it on. Your 3 key to set it in cruise control. You're going to continue on, and just make sure that when you do that, that your little arrow here in this area shows you that it's going to turn to the left and not the right, because we want it to turn to the left when it gets to the end of the field. And what will happen now, it's going to do the same sequence, but it's going to continue on taking care of the field. For those people that use the GPS mod and know how it works, you know that you can adjust the lane changes like that. Again, I'm not here to teach you how to do that. I'm just trying to show somebody that doesn't know how to use GPS the simplest way to automate the mission. Okay, so we are at the end of our second pass, and you notice that it tried to come over too far. So we're going to back up. We're going to set it right here. And make sure that it's going to turn to the left, which it's not. Control. Hit Control. Flip it to the left right here. Make sure it's going to go to the left. Hit your little icon for your satellite. Hit the 3 key for cruise control. And again, off we go. So we're going to stop it here. Again, line up to the last lane that we're going to have to do here. Make sure that it's going the right direction. It is not. Hit your control key. Make sure it's going to the left. Hit your satellite. The number 3 for cruise control. And we're on our last leg. So we're coming to the end of our last pass, and as you see, this method is semi-automatic, but it only occurs with very small pieces of equipment. The other thing you have to remember is that a lot of the missions are fertilizing and harvesting, in which you have a very wide piece of equipment, and you won't have to worry about this lane change. So the important thing is that if you're on a field like field number 5 that's very large, whether you're doing something with a small piece of equipment or a large piece of equipment, the GPS becomes invaluable to complete those missions without too much fatigue. I hope you liked this tutorial. If you did, give it a like, share it with a friend. You can subscribe to my channel. That would make me a happy camper. And I'll see you in the next tutorial.